Men in America podcast, hosted by OG Foxy. Welcome to Black Men in America podcast. I'm your host, OG Foxy. Today, we're diving into Kamala Harris' powerful moves to reform key areas in American society, from healthcare and job opportunities to gun control. We'll also take a look at Trump's ongoing commentary and how it's shaping the political landscape. So let's get started. Vice President Harris said, "I have personally seen what assault weapons do to the human body."
When we talk about crime, the conversation turns to gun safety as well. And I think you actually probably caught a lot of people off guard, maybe a bit by surprise in the debate the other night when you mentioned that you are a gun owner. I know you said it in 2019 as well. I want to talk about your values on this issue. When it comes to gun ownership, where do you draw the line in America on gun ownership and gun use?
Well, like you said, Brian, I am a gun owner, and Tim Walz, my running mate, is also a gun owner. We're not taking anybody's guns away. I support the Second Amendment, and I support reasonable gun safety laws. Part of my approach to this is I was a career prosecutor for most of my career. I have personally prosecuted homicide cases. I have personally looked at autopsies. I have personally seen what assault weapons do to the human body. And so I feel very strongly that it is consistent with the Second Amendment and your right to own a gun to also say we need an assault weapons ban. They're literally tools of war. They were literally designed to kill a lot of human beings quickly. I say we need universal background checks. The majority of NRA members support that. Why? Because it's just reasonable. You just might want to know before someone can buy a lethal weapon if they've been found by a court to be a danger to themselves or others. You just might want to know.
I agree with Kamala. Assault weapons should be banned. Kamala Harris said, "I will get rid of the unnecessary degree requirements for federal jobs."
I will also make sure good paying jobs are available to all Americans, not just those with college degrees. For far too long, our nation has encouraged only one path to success, a four-year college degree. Our nation needs to recognize the value of other paths, additional paths, such as apprenticeships and technical programs. So as president, I will get rid of the unnecessary degree requirements for federal jobs to increase jobs for folks without a four-year degree, understanding that requiring a certain degree does not necessarily talk about one's skills. And I will challenge the private sector to do the same.
This will help improve the lives of millions of Americans. Kamala Harris announces her plan to eliminate medical debt as a consideration in credit scores.
In this moment, I believe we face a choice between two different visions for our nation. One focused on the future, the other focused on the past. And with your support, I am fighting for our nation's future. And let us be clear about what that future looks like. I know the leaders in this room, and I know the future we believe in and we fight for. We here believe in a future where, for example, everyone has affordable health care, which is why our administration capped the cost of insulin for our seniors at $35 a month. We believe in a future where no child has to grow up in poverty, which is why I helped pass the child tax credit, which cut child poverty in half and cut Black child poverty even more. We believe in a future where the economy works for working people. That is why we forgave student loan debt for more than 5 million Americans. And if you or anyone you know benefited from that, please testify. And we are finally making it so that medical debt can no longer be used against your credit score. And it is because of our collective vision for the future that we continue to fight for affordable child care, affordable elder care, and paid family leave.
Medical debts are astronomical and people need help. Check out this great new ad for Kamala Harris.
Mr. President, on January 6th, you told your supporters to march to the Capitol. You said you would be right there with them. The country and the world saw what played out at the Capitol that day, the officers coming under attack. Aides in the West Wing say you watched it unfold on television off the Oval Office. You did send out tweets, but it was more than 2 hours before you sent out that video message.
An election that was stolen from us.
Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day?
You just said a thing that isn't covered. Peacefully and patriotically, I said during my speech, not later on. Peacefully and patriotically. You'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength and you have to be strong. And nobody on the other side was killed. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace. But we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly. I ask, what about all the people that are pouring into our country?
Get anymore, this is our country!
You were the president. You were watching it unfold on television. It's a very simple question as we move forward toward another election. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day? Yes, sir.
I had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi.
And the mayor of Washington, D.C. and the mayor put it back in writing.
We have a breach of the Capitol! Breach of the Capitol!
Trump was the worst president in American history, and we have to make sure that we vote Kamala into office. Walls said Kamala Harris was able to use this guy's inflated ego and narcissism to bait him into melting down. Ratings and reviews can help the Black Man in America podcast reach a wider audience, and donations will improve the quality of our content. To donate, just click on the support the show link. Thank you.
Kamala Harris was able to, within a matter of a few seconds, use this guy's inflated ego and narcissism to bait him into melting down on a national stage in front of 60 million. You don't think Vladimir Putin could do that? You don't think Xi Jinping could do that? You don't think that folks who are looking to flatter this guy as he shakes down our allies like it's some type of racket operation, rather than standing with
Kamala made Trump look insane. Governor Walz said Trump couldn't answer the easiest question at the debate.
And Donald Trump continues to try and suppress, continues to try and lie. But at a debate, if the Ukraine question wasn't easy enough, there's one even easier than that. And that one is, when you lost the 2020 election, why do you continue to lie about it? Why do you continue to lie about it? And I get it. This idea of trying to say, well, we need to stay fair and all this. We cannot be that frog in that slowly raising water temperature where we recognize that that is normal. That is nowhere near normal. And what we know is the way to put an end to that is to simply work our butts off, call our neighbors, get people to the ballot box, win this election, and let him go complain for however long he wants to complain. Let him go complain. So I oftentimes say this, especially at rallies where people are showing up on your own time. As I said again, yes, we understand this is a means to an end. The means is to elect Kamala Harris, the next president of the United States. And the end of that is a functioning democracy where everybody matters, where women make their own healthcare choices, where we tackle things. That's what we get.
Trump doesn't have the mental capacity to be president. Walz said, Swifties, with your help, we're going to defeat the smallest man who ever lived.
All the guys out there, whatever, here's my life hack. Surround yourself with smart women and listen to them, and you'll do just fine. You'll do just fine. That includes my fellow cat owner, Taylor Swift, too, by the way. It's really great to have all of these women help us beat the smallest man in the world, Donald Trump.
Amen to that. Vance claims he and Trump have to create stories about migrants eating dogs and cats.
Just once and for all, you again started this in part by saying that, at which Donald Trump repeated on the debate stage, that, and he didn't say anything about the policies that you're talking about. He just said Haitians are eating dogs and cats. Can you affirmatively say now that that is a rumor that has no basis with evidence?
Dana, the evidence is the first-hand account of my constituents who are telling me that this happened. And by the way, I've been trying to talk about the problems in Springfield for months, and the American media ignored it. There was a congressional hearing just last week of angel moms who lost children because Kamala Harris let criminal migrants into this country who then murdered their children. The American media totally ignored this stuff until Donald Trump and I started talking about cat memes. If I have to, create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do, Dana, because you guys are completely letting Kamala Harris coast. You had one interview with her. You talk about pushing back against me, Dana. You didn't push back against the fact that she cast the deciding vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which is why a lot of Americans can't afford food and housing.
You just said that you're creating a story.
Public policy.
Sorry, you just said that you're creating the story.
What's that, Dana?
You just said that this is a story that you created. So the eating dogs and cats thing is not.
Dana, it comes from firsthand accounts from my constituents. I say that we're creating a story, meaning we're creating the American media focusing on it. I didn't create 20,000 illegal migrants coming into Springfield thanks to Kamala Harris's policies. Her policies did that, but yes, we created the actual focus that allowed the American media to talk about this story and the suffering caused by Kamala Harris's policies.
Trump and Vance are hitting the panic button. Vance said, we want our public policy to be motivated by the wisdom of loving thy neighbor.
Because in this room, while we're
disparaged by the media and disparaged by the Democrats as people who want to force our faith on other people. I think I speak for every single person in this room saying we don't want to force our faith on anybody. What we want is to recognize and to have motivate us the faith that is, I think, the source of all great truth in human history, and especially in this country. That we want our public policy to be motivated by the wisdom of loving thy neighbor.
Except if you're an immigrant neighbor. Vance said Trump will use Elon Musk to target Social Security.
Very good. Let's talk about government reform.
Yeah.
So it looks like Elon is going to be on the cabinet and will be in the charge on the government efficiency department, if that's what you call it.
Yep.
How do you see, have you spoken with him about the plan, how he's going to do it?
Well, I've spoken, you mean with the president or with Elon?
With Elon.
With Elon. So I've spoken with Elon a little bit about it. And, I think that the way that this is envisioned is you set up you set up an organization with very smart people from the private sector and a few smart people from government, and you go in and you say, how are we going to fix all the broken inefficiencies? And the thing that's complicated about this, man, is it's going to look much different in, say, the Department of Defense versus Social Security, right?
This sounds like the implementation of Project 2025. Vance completely endorses Project 2025.
I think the thing that we have to take away from the last 10 years is that we really need to be really ruthless when it comes to the exercise of power. I was talking about this with someone earlier today, where you remember there was some threat that congressional or Senate Republicans made. If you get rid of the filibuster, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. And you actually look at it, it's like, well, this is not that interesting.
We're going to actually deliver on our promises that we've made for
this is the threat. If you get rid of the filibuster, we're going to do this stuff. Like, they're talking about expanding the Supreme Court. They're talking about adding, 2 senators from heavily Democratic places.
You get rid of the filibuster, we'll actually deliver on these.
We'll do what it is, but that we don't want to do.
So I think, look, I am a cynic about this and maybe even a little bit of a pessimist, but I think the challenge confronting American conservatives is that we have lost every major powerful institution in the country, except for maybe churches and religious institutions, which of course are weaker now than they've ever been. We have lost big business. We've lost finance. We've lost the culture. We've lost the academy. And if we're going to actually really affect real change in the country, it will require us completely replacing the existing ruling class with another ruling class. I say that knowing and hearing myself, it sounds really hard. It is really hard, but I don't think there's like a detent with these people. I don't think there's sort of a compromise that we're going to come with the people who currently actually control the country. Unless we overthrow them in some way, we're going to keep losing. And that's the challenge. Now,
Don't be fooled. Project 2025 will be the new Constitution if Trump is elected. Vance blames liberals for the attempts on Trump's life.
And I know it's popular on a lot of corners of the left to say that we have a both sides problem. And I'm not going to say we're always perfect. I'm not going to say that conservatives always get things exactly right. But the big difference between conservatives and liberals is that no one has tried to kill Kamala Harris in the last couple of months, and 2 people now have tried to kill Donald Trump in the last couple of months. I'd say that's pretty strong evidence that the left needs to tone down the rhetoric and needs to cut this crap out. Somebody's going to get hurt by it, and it's going to destroy this country. Somebody is going to get hurt, and you think about what an incredible wound it would open up in the United States of America, all of us. And I promise I will do my part to tone down the rhetoric, but in particular, the people telling you that Donald Trump needs to be eliminated, you guys need to cut it out or you're going to get somebody hurt.
Trump is to blame for what has happened to him. He is a divider. Trump calls a press conference.
David Muir said exactly, I quote, President Trump, as you know, this is after I made the statement that crime is at record numbers. President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is coming down in this country. Now, anybody that says it's coming down, when you look at all of the migrant crime and all of the other crime, and this doesn't even include most of the migrant crime. So it's up 55, 65, 75, and 85. In one case, one category is up 89%. And these numbers have just been released by the government. I appreciate the person that released them. I think he came to my defense, actually. But the people understand it. In fact, he was wrong. The FBI totally fudged the numbers. And I really believe it's actually a fraud what the FBI did. It's a fraud. And it was a fraud when the administration, I call it the Kamala, because I don't even know who our president is anymore. Where is this guy? They took it away. This was an overthrow of the president of the United States. This was a coup. You got 14, think of it. You got 14 million votes. You got no votes. She was the first one that lost, and now I'm running against her. They went in. I was 19 points up in the poll. I saw their poll. They went up after the debate with Biden. I have debates with everybody. But the first debate, we had two debates. We didn't have one. First I had Biden, and he was 19 to 21 down. And they went, that's when they went, and they said, you can't win, you're going to get out. And he said, no, I'm not going to get out, which was his right to say. They said, well, if you don't get out, we're going to execute the 25th Amendment. And he said, like I said, I'm going to get out. And he hates her beyond any, I think he hates her probably almost as much as he hates me. I think he still hates me a little bit more. But he hates her. He hates her. He hates what she did. And, you know, when they talk about democracy, well, that's not democracy. He had 14 million votes. She had none. And she was the first one out of the 22 people or so that ran as a Democrat. She never made it to Iowa, first state. She never made it to Iowa. She was the first one out, and now she's running. So you tell me how that works. They wanted to be politically correct, that's all. But we're not going to let her destroy our country.
Trump has completely lost it. Trump said Charlottesville, nothing was done wrong.
So the numbers now, I think he corrected me 11 times. Of the 11 times, I don't think he had the right to correct me at all. Didn't correct her once. Like on Project 2025, I have no idea about, it had nothing to do with me. He didn't correct her. He knew that. Charlottesville, nothing was done wrong. All you had to do is read my statement, one more sentence, and you would have seen that. Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, Jesse, all of them, Greg Gutfeld, they all took that and they corrected it many times.
This is another example of Trump being a sore loser. Trump said there's a giant faucet in Northern California.
So what happened? I'm saying, why? I look at this field, and it's massive. And in the middle of the field is a little spot of the most green, plush land you've ever seen. I said, and then I see another one. These little plots, like 1 or 2 acres. And you'd have 1,000 acres that's barren and dead and dark. And I said, what's the problem here? What is that green acreage? You know, the soil is unbelievably fertile, but they have no water. I said, so do you have a drought? No, we don't have a drought. We have the water is cut off upstate, up in the north. You know that? And the water, in order to protect a certain little tiny fish called a smelt, they send millions and millions of gallons of water out to the Pacific Ocean, way up north. Never even gets close to here. And you know, in Los Angeles and Beverly Hills, all these rich areas, they want to give you like 38 gallons of water to use. You buy a house for a lot of money and then you're allowed to use 38 gallons of water. But you have no water down here. And the reason you have no water, you have the canals. The reason you have no water is because Gavin Newsom didn't want to do it. I had it all done. I had the Department of Commerce at the time, believe it or not, they're the ones that rule on this particular issue. So you have millions of gallons of water pouring down from the north with the snow caps in Canada and all pouring down. And they have essentially a very large faucet. And you turn the faucet, and it takes 1 day to turn it. It's massive. It's as big as the wall of that building right there behind you. and you turn that, and all of that water goes aimlessly into the Pacific. And if they turned it back, all of that water would come right down here and right into Los Angeles. They wouldn't have to have people not use more than 30 gallons and 32 gallons. They want to do that, they're trying to do that. And you have so much water, and all those fields that are right now barren, the farmers would have all the water they needed. And you could revert water up into the hills where you have all the dead forests, where the forests are so brittle. Because no place is like California. I go to Austria. The head of Austria tells me, we have trees that are much more flammable than what you have in California. We never have forest fires because they maintain their forests. And you have all that water that could be used as water, what they call water flow, where where the land would be damp. And you'd stop many of these horrible fires that are costing billions and billions of dollars by the federal government, etc. So one thing I'm going to do for California, vote for me, California. I'm going to give you safety. I'm going to give you a great border. And I'm going to give you more water than almost anybody has. And the farmers up north are going to be able to use 100% of their land, not 1% of their land. And the water is going to come all the way down to Los Angeles. And you're going to have more water than you ever saw. And the smelt is not making it anyway. In fact, they make and grow smelt because it dies all the way up and down the line, and they put stuff that was artificially made. You know that. So you're going to have water in California at a level that you've never seen before. The farmers are going to do great. Those fields are going to be all green instead of 1% green. And maybe even more important, you're not going to have illegal immigrants pouring into your country and killing your family. You're not going to have the problems that you have right now. We're going to lower your taxes.
The talk of a Looney Tune. Springfield residents want Trump and Vance to stop spreading the lies and hate about their city.
I'm President Williams of the NAACP. And as you can see, I'm surrounded by family of all races, of all walks of Springfield. I'm calling on our white community, our black community, our Haitian community, our Mexican community. We need to come together. We cannot embrace violence. We will not embrace hatred. We are a city of love, a city of compassion. And what is happening in our city right now is absolutely unbelievable. I am calling on Trump. I'm calling on J.D. Vance to retract their messages, to offer an apology to the city of Springfield, Ohio. We are already on edge, but with the comments from our government has made it worse. So I'm calling on them as the president of NAACP, as my state president. I'm speaking on his behalf as well, Mr. Tom Roberts. We need peace in our community. It is time to embrace each other. It is time to dispel the rumors. No, they are not stealing from Walmart. No, the reason why the cabinets are locked are not because we have Haitians here. They've been locked for years. No, they are not eating cats. And as our government said, dogs. We haven't seen one account of that. And let me assure you that if that was happening here in our city, I would have received complaints about it. Let me reassure you of that. So to my community, we are here to love each other. We are not going to tear up where we live. So I am calling for all of us in this Springfield, Ohio community. Let's come together in peace. Let's come together in love. Let's come together in harmony. This is our place of living. You have Haitians here who are engineers, business people. They are raising a family just like we are. Just because their skin is dark don't mean that they are here to destroy our city. We have got to get our minds in a whole different mindset. We are getting lots of different people within our community. So I am thankful for this gathering. What we need in this city right now is prayer. What we need in this city right now is more love. So I am calling on the entire community. Please put your arms around each other. And I'm saying there's no room here for the hatred that's coming into our city. We will not stand for it. We are not our ancestors. We are here and we are going to live here. So I'm advising everybody, to the government, retract your statement. Send an apology to this city. Look what you have done. We already on the edge. We did not need that comment. So next time you make a comment, Mr. Government, let's make sure you do your homework. Let's make sure that you look into the allegations. Let's stop this negativity that you are spreading all over the country. Can you believe it? Springfield made CNN. We are up on the debate panel. How ridiculous. And you're going to spread the word that they're eating cats. I can tell you right now, when you go into Walmart, they're spending their money just like us. Folks are complaining about their cart is full of food. Have you seen mine? Have you seen my cart when I go to Walmart? The hatred needs to end, and I am here with the clergy, with the friends of the community, with my pastors. We are here because we don't need negative remarks made about our city. Amen? And it needs to stop right now. So I don't care who don't like me. I don't care what emails I'm going to get. I am standing with our Haitian community, our Mexican community. I'm standing with the white community. We all need to come together as one. Why? Because we are one community of love. Thank you.
And on that note, I want to say thanks for listening to Black Men in America. Don't forget to donate, leave a review, and stay informed as we continue to navigate the 2024 election and beyond. Until the next time, stay strong and stay alert, and may God bless us all. Black Men in America podcast at OG Foxy Production. Love and peace to us all.